My ethnicity is Palestinian. My father, as we grew in years, wanted to teach us and to indoctrinate us with the ways of Islam. When I was 12 in 1997, my father returned the whole family to Jerusalem. And the intention was for all of us to become better Muslims. See, my father, wanting to remove us from the Christian American culture, took us to where the Christian American culture was born. And so I started seeing streets that had all these biblical names. And so I began to ask questions. Suddenly, I began to doubt and to question the very thing that made up who we were as a people and as a race. It felt like the ground that I was standing on became sinking sand. I did my checklist, I prayed, I went to the mosque, I was reading the Quran. At the end of the checklist is where I found myself. Did you know that today 1.6 billion people will pray and will never sense the presence of God? I found myself in this crisis of faith. For the next year and a half, I began to meet and get to know the happy people. I call them the happy people. I found myself in a church in Jerusalem. First time in my life I ever went to church. I sat in the back corner and I was amazed. I saw more happy people. I saw people worshiping the Lord. I saw people weeping tears of joy. I saw interaction between heaven and earth. And it made me so mad. I went downstairs, found an empty room, and I faced towards Mecca, and I prayed the darkest prayer I had ever prayed. At the end of that prayer, I looked up to heaven and I said, you know what? I quit. If you are who those happy people are worshiping, I choose right now, I quit this fight and I'm going to find the truth. So whoever you are, I'm up for grabs. The war began in the year 2000. I got on my knees and I said, God, if the Jews are your people, why are they killing my people? Suddenly I fell asleep and out of the darkness came a man. This man looked like Jesus. He was majestic. And he looked at me and said, read Isaiah 22. So I went upstairs to the Christians and I said, I had this dream. They said, Hazem, we have a prophet named the prophet Isaiah. How does Isaiah 22 begin? It says this, O city of Jerusalem, city of tumult and chaos. Verse 4, God says, depart from me and do not try to console me. Let me to weep bitterly for the destruction of my people. What does it take for the Muslim people to know that Jesus Christ is the Lord? It's one word. And that one word is this. Jesus looks at her and he says, Mary. He calls her by her name. And immediately she turned towards him and she exclaimed, teacher. What does it take for the Muslim world to recognize Jesus? It takes the Muslim world to hear the living Savior call out their name, because Allah never called out their name. Most of us have come to the Lord through dreams and visions. If you are bored with your faith in Jesus, I implore you, he could be speaking right to you and you not recognize him. Today, what are you going to do to recognize Jesus? I'm 100% sure that if you would listen just a little bit, you can hear him calling your name.